It always begins the same way. She doesn't look at you as you are. She looks at who you could become. You feel it, that spark in her gaze. But is it admiration, or is it calculation? You think she sees you, but she's measuring you, sizing you up, not as a man, as a blank canvas, a space for her fantasy, a role she's been rehearsing since childhood. And you're just the latest actor to step into the scene. You were never chosen for who you are. You were chosen for who you might become in her mind. And Jung warned us, not with warm encouragement, with the sharp edge of brutal clarity. He didn't give motivational speeches. He dissected the human psyche like a surgeon. He called it the unconscious, a force moving beneath everything we do, silent, invisible, undeniable. And in that deep current, he discovered something terrifying about women. He saw that many don't fall in love with men. They fall in love with their own image of a man, a projection, a symbol, a psychological script. And here's the twist. Most of them don't even know they're doing it. They're not being manipulative. They're not lying. They truly believe they've found someone special. But what they've actually found is a reflection, an idea they've projected outward. And you become that reflection until you don't. Because one day you stop saying the right lines. You stop fitting the fantasy. And when that happens, the story continues, but without you. You'll replace the actor, not rewrite the script. Jung called this projection the animus, the masculine spirit that lives inside every woman. And when it's immature, undeveloped, unexamined, it becomes tyrannical. It debates without logic. It controls without empathy. It moralizes without responsibility. It becomes a force that overtakes her voice, her thoughts, her choices, without her even realizing it. And you mistake it for passion, for depth, for love. You think she's fallen for you. But really, she's fallen for a character she's created. And the moment you fall out of character, the moment you start acting like yourself, the fantasy collapses. She pulls back. She grows cold. She says you've changed. But the truth is you never were the man she imagined. And Jung didn't whisper this truth. He shouted it from the edge of the abyss. He called it a kind of possession, a state where the woman isn't acting from her own soul anymore, but from a ghost, a masculine ghost living inside her, and you fall victim to it because no one taught you how to see it. You confuse being wanted with being valued. You think desire means understanding. You assume being chosen means you're known. But you're not. You're playing a role in someone else's story. And when your lines stop matching her expectations, the curtain falls. She replaces you, not out of cruelty, but out of necessity. You simply don't match the fantasy anymore. And here's where men suffer the most. We internalize the rejection. We assume we failed, but we didn't fail. We just stopped being useful to the illusion. Jung said the only way out is through individuation, the lifelong process of becoming whole, authentic, real. But most men never take that path. Why? Because we're trained from birth to seek validation, to please, to mold ourselves to fit. We think approval equals love. We think being chosen gives us worth, so we abandon ourselves just to keep the fantasy alive. We compromise, we adapt, we perform, until we forget who we really are. And Jung called this exactly what it is: self-betrayal. A man who avoids his inner work becomes a servant to outer projections. He bends like wet clay, shaped by the desires of women who haven't faced their own shadows. And what's worse, women can feel it. They feel when you're not rooted, not solid, not true. They sense the mask, even if they once encouraged it. And the very things you thought would make her stay, your consistency, your availability, your devotion, become the very things that repel her. Because feminine energy, Jung said, doesn't crave safety. It craves mystery, challenge, depth. When you give yourself away completely, when you strip away every boundary, you don't become lovable. You become forgettable. You become disposable. And here's the most uncomfortable truth. You fear being alone more than you fear being false. You'd rather be accepted as an illusion than rejected as your truth. But Jung said that real manhood, true freedom, comes only when you stand alone, when you stop performing, when you stop chasing roles, when you start facing your own darkness. Individuation isn't easy. It's brutal. It forces you to look at the parts you've buried, the insecure parts, the weak parts, the broken parts. And most men never go there. They blame women. They point fingers. They join bitter circles of cynicism. But Jung asked the harder question. Why did you allow yourself to be chosen by someone who never saw you in the first place? Why did you offer your soul in exchange for validation? You weren't a victim. You were a volunteer. You chose the part. You memorized the lines. You stepped onto the stage willingly because it was easier than confronting your own emptiness. And when she dropped you, when she no longer needed the illusion, you called it your wake-up call. Because the truth is, she was never meant to carry your soul. That was always your responsibility. And until you accept that, every relationship you enter will be a play. Every woman will be your mirror. Every love will be a lie. But when you stop running, you face yourself, you begin to change. Not for her, for you. You stop chasing. You stop performing. You stop hoping to be seen. And something strange happens. You start attracting women who have faced their own shadows. Women who aren't looking for a character. Women who aren't scripting a movie in their heads. They meet you as you are. No masks. No roles. No illusions. They don't try to change you. They don't worship you. They don't expect you to complete them. Because they've done their work too. They've met their animus. They've seen their projections. They've stopped the performance. And together, finally, there is no stage, no act, no fantasy. Just truth, just choice, just presence. Jung said this kind of love is rare and dangerous because it demands nothing but requires everything. It asks for wholeness, authenticity, clarity. And most people, they'll never find it because they'll quit before they get there. They'll settle for the act, the mask, the illusion. They'll call it love, but it's not. It's avoidance. It's fear. It's codependence dressed in romance. If you keep walking, if you keep shedding the layers, if you keep refusing to perform, you'll find something terrifying. You'll find yourself, and in that stillness you no longer use women to feel like a man. You no longer need their gaze to feel alive. You no longer trade your truth for affection. You choose freely, fully. And when you meet her, the real her, you'll know. Because she won't ask for performance. She won't demand sacrifice. She won't fall in love with your potential. She'll stand in front of you, whole, clear, ready, not to save you, not to be saved, but to walk with you shoulder to shoulder, soul to soul. No roles, no scripts, no games, just truth. And that kind of love, Jung said, is the most powerful kind, because it's not born of need, it's born of freedom, and freedom is the beginning of everything. Take a moment right now to like this video, share it with another man who needs to hear the truth, and subscribe for more. Your support isn't just for us. It's for the next man who's still living in the illusion, waiting to be set free. Help us spread this message. Help us wake up the world. One man at a time.